regarding the kidnappings and killings or other crimes which are happening inside the country, we do our best to avoid that and definitely take the security of embassies, organizations, and also the merchants. But there are some incidents that we have had recently, but most of them are under investigation. We have already arrested some people regarding this.
Obaidullah Baheer is a lecturer of transitional justice over at the American University of Afghanistan. He joins us now live. Good to have you on the show. So, despite an international outcry when they presented their all-male cabinet ministers earlier this month, now the Taliban have come out and completed this, again, failing to name any women, not only women, but anybody from religious or ethnic minorities. Are you surprised at all?
I personally think that there's a positive development here that needs to be highlighted. The fact that we now have a Hazara member in cabinet, the fact that we have another Tajik ethnic person within the cabinet as well, those are welcome development, and they show some sort of sensitivity towards international expectations of the Taliban. The matter of women inclusion and generally political elites and political parties inclusion is a fundamental issue that the Taliban are not really comprehending much. There was a talk by the mayor of Kabul yesterday that said that any job that can be done by a man would not be done by a woman. These are things that the Taliban need to work with and talk about. They're already talking about reopening girls' schools. So credit where credit is due. The Taliban have their problems, and we've been microscoping into their faults. But when they do something good, I think we should appreciate that.
I stand corrected, Obaidullah. Thanks for correcting me on the Hazara member. So I do apologize to our viewers. All right, the latest report by Amnesty International is stating that the group has reimposed various or a range of restrictions, and that they've also carried out attacks on human rights defenders. How crucial is it for the Taliban not to sort of get sucked into this negative image?
The fact that the Taliban, even through their rhetoric, are saying things that sound fundamentally in line with international norms is an improvement on the Taliban of olden days. So, yes, there are problems with regards to women's education, with regards to the extrajudicial justice that is being handed out by individuals. Those are issues, at least the Taliban on paper are saying they would address. They're demanding for more time. And we do understand for an insurgent group to turn into a governing role that needs a certain transition and integration. We just hope that they do deliver on those promises, because if they build a very strictly Taliban version of Afghanistan, that's not going to be very sustainable, at least not within the urban populations, which will cause dissatisfaction, will cause grievances, and then, God forbid, lead towards a civil war or a public uprising. That's not something Afghanistan wants to see. We do not want the Taliban to fail. We want them to succeed at their role. It's just that there has to be some dialogue. There has to be some exchange of ideas in order for that to happen.
You say the Taliban has to be given time. I understand that, but how willing are Western countries who have played such an important role in the country in 20 years willing to give that time?
Does the international community have any other option is the question here. Either, no matter how you look at it, the Afghan population is being held as a human shield. That means anything that the international community does to increase pressure on the Taliban would be directly felt by the Afghan people. For example, the issue of the frozen funds of Afghanistan, which amounts to $9 billion, I think, dollars. That is money that Afghanistan direly needs. The international community is right now stuck in a dilemma where they have to figure out a way as to how to channel that money back into Afghanistan, even if they don't want to give it to the Taliban directly. We should nominate facilitators and mediators for this process. Qatar has been playing a very positive role. They could take charge of the aid efforts that Afghanistan very desperately needs. In the midst of 2022, Afghanistan's 97% population will be under the poverty line. That is not a world or a country that should be in the world in such a state. We were past the point where people would die of hunger. And we hope that is not repeated. And a regional approach needs to be developed. A consensus needs to be developed with regards to the approach towards the Taliban. And if they are showing willingness to listen, then I hope that is a sign of good things.
Obaidullah Baheer, thank you very much for joining us. I do appreciate your analysis.